pull out a catalog?
Sure. Well, let me ask you, Justin, do you have a favorite summer vegetable?
I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
There's one extremely wrong answer in my mind, but a bunch of right ones.
I hope the wrong answer is it squash?
Seedy Shorts.
Yeah, the wrong answer is summer squash.
Yeah, I mean, squash is always the wrong answer.
Everyone knows it, but somehow everyone still grows it.
They just, for some reason, it makes them feel good to have a plant that is healthy and producing lots of stuff,
real well.
Even though they don't want to eat what it's actually producing.
Right. Yeah.
And they want to give it away because they know that it's just bad tasting solid water.
It's wet. It's just so wet.
It's solidified water with sort of a bad taste.
Yeah. No, it's not good. I mean, even zucchini was funny when that was like, and I actually at this point like grilled zucchini.
Sure.
But for a long time.
Reduces how wet it is.
Right. Yeah. But for a long time, people had to just make banana bread, but with zucchini and call it zucchini bread in order to get rid of it. Yeah. But then it's like, well, you're just really in it for the sugar and butter.
Yeah.
You know what I really love are nightshades, and I've never been great at growing them, like eggplants and that's something I sort of aspire to grow.
Eggplants are great. We had limited success. We grew a few very large ones.
Eggplants are hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was asking because I thought we could pull out a catalog and read from the section that's like whatever vegetable you are kind of interested in. So let me see if I can find some good eggplant.
Yeah, let's read it. Let's read eggplants. What do you got over there?
So I've got Territorial Seed Company, Southern Exposure Seed Exchange, and High Mowing Organic Seeds.
A couple of favorites. I think we have probably done an episode on the Territorial and an episode on
Southern Exposure.
Yeah, of course we've done that one. I think we have not done a High Mowing episode since the very beginning.
So the issue is that High Mowing actually has pretty short descriptions. And so I thought if we wanted to just talk about a handful of nice lengthy descriptions, we'd want to use the other two.
Yeah. Start with Southern Exposure. That's a good idea. We at this point have like some pretty serious seed catalog preferences.
Yeah, no, I mean, I imagine.
Let me read one and to get us started, and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
This is from the Southern Exposure Seed Exchange 2021 catalog. Rosita, heirloom from Puerto Rico. 4-foot tall plants produce excellent yields of lavender pink, teardrop-shaped fruits with white shoulders. The skin is tender without a trace of bitterness, and the white flesh is mild and sweet because the seeds are so late to develop in the fruits. Our favorite eggplant, this is the one we always make sure to plant every year.
Our favorite is high praise. I'm always a little unnerved by like the relating of the anatomy of these things to human. What is an eggplant shoulder?
I think that's obvious.
I don't feel as though it's obvious. Is it the place to the right and left of the stem?
Yeah, below the neck.
But above the back, the pussy and the crack. So the shoulders are white.
So that just means white on top, right? Like and purple on the bottom.
Yeah.
White on top, purple on the bottom.
I can pass around the catalog. Frankly, it looks like just a regular eggplant.
Wow, what a huge disappointment.
I mean, it's a light color. It's not one of those super dark eggplants. It's a purple. It's a true purple.
Well, when we read eggplant descriptions that do have a very rich purple, as I've said, Carthaginian purple, the like they really harp on that a lot of the time. So I wondered if that was considered a virtue, but like if it's a more concentrated whatever is in it.
I don't think so. I think eggplant color and flavor aren't really correlated, but this catalog divides them by color.
Oh.
There's purple and bicolor, and then there's green and white. And then, of course, they're named, some of them are named black or rosa or rosita is the one I just read. That, long purple. So the purple, black, blush, green, and white all kind of go into the naming.
I feel like the trend has been like tiny eggplants, right? Like I feel like it used to be big eggplant and now they're just getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, I mean, at the farmer's market, you always see those tiny eggplants.
Those are the best tasting ones. When we were kids, the only eggplants you could get were the huge ones.
Yeah.
And they always tasted bad to me. I never liked eggplant until I left the United States. And I was like, oh, these little eggplants are great.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I hated eggplant as a child, for sure.
There's like a real diversity in eggplant globally that we do not see in our supermarkets here.
Yeah, I think that's right.
All right, Justin's got an eggplant description for us. This is also from Southern Exposure.
Yeah. So this one is early black egg, an early Japanese variety of good flavor with small, tender, egg-shaped fruits about 5 inches long. Sets well in the mid-Atlantic, including cool, short-season areas. Vigorous plants more tolerant of flea beetles than other varieties.
Wow, those flea
that's a
beetles.
pest that I now have to know exists.
Yeah, I have no idea what a flea beetle is. It sounds like 2 different pests.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what a flea beetle is either.
And I guess being tolerant of a flea beetle is a good thing.
Yeah, I think that means they
don't die
They
when
don't
attacked
die.
by flea
Yeah.
beetles.
yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean that they sort of accept them as creatures
It's
in a generous, emotional way.
Yeah, it's also funny this egg-shaped because they have a picture and it doesn't look anything like the shape of an egg.
Do you think that all eggplants should be egg-shaped? That should be a criteria.
Well, eggs are not all the same shape. Like a fruit fly egg is very elongated.
Is it?
Yeah. You can get eggs that are perfectly spherical. You can get eggs that are really elongated. I mean, there's all kinds of weird shapes eggs can be. So I think they are egg-shaped. All of these shapes eggplants can be. There can be eggs that are that shape, I bet you.
I guess I've never seen a non-chicken, duck, or quail egg.
Okay, but you understand
Or
that all
human.
animals come from eggs. You've seen human eggs?
I've seen
What?
Not like in my hand. I haven't handled them, but I've seen images, certainly.
I mean, fish eggs, I think.
Yeah, I
I've
guess
seen fish
roe
eggs.
are spherical. Flea beetles look way, way more like beetles than fleas to me.
Yeah, they look. I just looked up a picture. You know those kind of beetles that look a little bit like fireflies in coloration, where they have the black body and then kind of a red head?
Yeah,
They're those beetles.
I see. And they like eggplant.
And I guess they also come in some other colors, but that was the one that I was like, oh yeah, I know that bug.
I mean, they're pretty attractive. I can see why the eggplants are tolerant of them.
I wonder why eggplants are called eggplants at all, really. I mean, I take the point that eggs are all different shapes and eggplants are all different shapes. And so, they might have similar shapes, but like, they have nothing to do with eggs.
Yeah, I feel like we've addressed this
We
before, but I
have
can't
addressed
remember
this.
the
You have?
answer.
Okay.
And I think the reason is that the white version was the type that English speakers had when they named the plant. So there are some eggplants that are kind of small and white and chicken egg-ish. And maybe that was the common variety when English decided that's what that plant was called. That's what I'm making up right now, but I think that's what we learned.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, they have this category of green and white. They have one called White Beauty,
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana Long Green, Apple Green.
The Wikipedia article on eggplant indicates, well, several things, I guess. You're right that the word eggplant was originally applied to white cultivars, which look very much like hen's eggs. Similar names are widespread in other languages, such as the Icelandic term eggalden. The white egg-shaped varieties of the eggplant's fruits are also known as garden eggs, which was first coined in 1811. I was also going to note that in the Wikipedia article, it says the eggplant has a special place in folklore. In 13th century Italian traditional folklore, the eggplant was believed to cause insanity. And in 19th century Egypt, insanity was said to be more common and more violent when the eggplant is in season in the summer.
Whoa, that's fascinating.
So, right. So it's not just eating the eggplant, but it's
just the existence of
when the eggplant is flourishing, that's when your crazy gets violent.
So then I have to ask why, if there's such a superstition about eggplants, why would people cultivate them at all? Like in a culture that believes eggplants drive you mad, who would be like, but
well, some people like,
let's eat them.
Why do we use drugs? I mean, we like I think we embrace being driven mad. The eggplant is also, according to the Wikipedia, nutritionally low in macronutrient and micronutrient content.
Yeah, it's basically nothing.
And its leaves are poisonous.
Well, that's what I was about to ask is it possible that thousands of years ago eggplants were poisonous and did make people act crazy?
I think
because
that is
nightshades,
possible, yeah.
I mean,
we've
do
adapted
poison
to,
people.
Right.
So maybe they thought eggplants made people act crazy because they did.
Do you think people got high on eggplants?
Land of the eggplant eaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Herodotus doesn't mention anything about eggplants to my knowledge, but
but it's the kind of thing, yeah.
They have these eggs that grow on plants that make you insane is exactly his jam.
I guess its virtue is, despite being of no particular nutrition in micronutrient or macronutrient content, it's good at absorbing oils into its flesh when cooked.
Yeah, like it's like tofu, right? It absorbs flavors and sauces
it's a good
really
base
well
for other stuff.
But it's also a really beautiful fruit, right? I mean, I just think eggplants look really good.
Yeah, they look great.
It's kind of amazing that such a thing would just grow.
Yeah.
A little bit like tomatoes also, right? I mean, that's another so how does this exist?
So the full nightshade group is not only eggplants and tomatoes, but white potatoes as well.
White potatoes and peppers.
White potatoes and peppers, yeah.
Oh, are all peppers nightshades? Oh, I didn't realize that.
Wow, should I read the description of a white potato?
I mean, I don't know if that would mess up the format of the...
There's clearly
this
no
is so
format.
Carefully formatted. How dare you?
This is a sweet potato section, but not a white potato
Look
section.
on the last page, the back cover. No, the inside back cover. The index, find the word potato.
Thank you.
Look under P.
Wow, you're right.
No, is there really a section just for white potatoes?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Wait, so I don't understand. How are some potatoes nightshades and other potatoes aren't?
Sweet potatoes are not potatoes. I mean, they're botanically completely different.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're talking white potatoes as in like non-sweet potato potatoes. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, like blue, waxy potatoes are also white potatoes.
Right.
It was what we mean.
Here's the King Harry potato. A firm-fleshed, round white potato from Cornell University that holds its shape well when boiled. These early and productive plants have hairy leaves, thanks to a wild potato from Bolivia, which deter pests like the Colorado potato beetle. Great for potato salads, boiling, sautés, and soups.
It's a very prestigious potato.
Yeah. It's an Ivy League potato.
And it's kind of like good at everything.
They also have I'm curious what their Yukon Gold description is. I'll often like to read a description of, because when we're in a grocery store, there are only like one or two varieties of things that are always available, right?
Right.
The Yukon Gold description here is renowned for outstanding flavor, which I don't know, right?
Sure, but that's what people like about Yukon Gold.
I guess so. The best known of the European-style yellow flesh potatoes, drier than most other yellow flesh potatoes, perfect for baking and mashing, good yields, and an excellent keeper, very early maturing. What vegetables do we want to be wet and which do we want to be dry? Because it seems like this potato being particularly dry is seen as a virtue.
Sure. But I mean, they're describing the quality, right? Like they might say that it's a particularly moist one that's good for baking.
Yeah.
Versus
it retains its moisture.
Right. It depends what you're trying to do with the dish, especially with something as versatile as a potato.
How wet do you like your tomatoes to be?
Well,
really wet.
Speaking of that, I was just looking at this picture of these eggplants, and they're really suggestive. I can see why the eggplant emoji has been commandeered to its current function. These Japanese eggplants are like...
Oh, yeah, they're big old dongs.
Like, it's pretty undeniable. Because, like, the more standard, like, rounder, larger eggplants don't really have a dick-like appearance. But these Japanese eggplants definitely do.
Well, there might be something just kind of generally a little obscene about eggplants. I mean, even the ones that are not
phallic like these, not just overtly phallic.
I think it's like, it has to do with, to some degree, with how smooth and shiny they are, is like a pretty sensual visual aspect. But I also think that the gentle curve of them is like the most like a boner of...
Right. So like on the facing page for this catalog is cucumbers.
But
and cucumbers would be an obvious choice in terms of like they're all shaped like approximately like a cylinder, but none of them look as much like a boner with an uncircumcised penis.
Yeah.
I mean, a cucumber's...
as these eggplants.
Yeah, a cucumber's not going to drive you insane.
Not sexy at all. Yeah. Yeah, you need the curve that slopes invitingly upward like that. I wish there were a Peter Pepper emoji, but I do think the eggplant emoji works. Then you have peach emoji for a nice thick butt.
Yeah.
Didn't they recently remove an important genital emoji? Wasn't that in the news?
I don't know.
Like in the newest operating system, something.
Wow. This is sure is freewheeling.
You should know that in editing, I remove all of Allison's heaving sighs that occur during recording.
Don't. You leave them in.
Only if they make... Only if they're in service of the episode.
Sure.
Well, someday you have to release a supercut
of all
the size you've cut out.
Seedy Shorts.